One player folded the best hand at the worst possible moment. Another got kicked out of a $300,000 pot by a dealer mistake. These are the most epic final table punts in WSOP history. Let's start with the time Blaž Zuryov was deep in the 25K high roller final table, when the hand that lit up the poker world went down. Chris Moorman opened. Jared Blesnik 3-bet. Then came Blaž. Holding a monster, pocket kings, he reached for the chips and said 1.3, but it wasn't clear. The dealer took it as a flat call. The table froze. Commentators paused. Was this just a misclick or the sickest angle of the series? Zuryov played on like nothing happened. He called, checked, and then hit the dream flop, another king. A set, he bet. He built the pot. And by the end of the hand, he dragged in over 9 million chips. Nearly half of Blesnik's stack gone in a single swing. And by the end of the hand, he dragged in over 9 million chips. Nearly half of Blesnik's stack gone in a single swing. Insane. Blesnik called it the weirdest thing he'd ever seen. Fans split into two camps. Genius or grifter? Some said it was a genuine miscommunication. Others weren't so sure. But the ruling stood. The hand played out and Blaž rode that wave all the way to the title. 1.73 million and the bracelet. Whether you think he got lucky or got sneaky, one thing's for sure. He made history. Next, we have one that had everyone shouting at their screens. 3 players left at the WSOP Circuit Final table in Maryland. Tension's thick. Divyam Satyarthi tables a flush. Clear winner. But before the chips are pushed, before the celebration can even register, the dealer sweeps his hand into the muck. Just like that, the cards vanish face down like they never existed. Satyarthi leaned back stunned. "Oh, I thought I won," he says softly. But it's already over. The chips are going the other way to Maurice Hawkins, and the stream captures every second of it. The dealer, the confusion, the disbelief. Commentators fell silent. The chat explodes. Reddit melts down. "That was a flush," one post reads. Another, "The dealer literally mucked the winner. What are we even watching?" But in tournament poker, especially at the WSOP circuit, once the dealer pushes the pot, the ruling sticks. No do-overs, no second looks, just silence and a third-place finish worth $64,458 that should have been better. Maybe a ring, maybe life-changing money, but now just a mistake carved into poker history. And the worst part? It didn't come from the cards. It came from the hands meant to protect them. And then came the chaos nobody saw coming. February 2025, WSOP Circuit main event in North Carolina. It was day 2, deep into the money, 65 players left. The room was locked in, grinding, calculating, chips flying. And then from nowhere, a man burst into the tournament area. Not a player, not a staff member. A random spectator, sprinting, not walking, not shouting warnings, just charging like a linebacker on a mission. He ducked under the ropes and launched himself at the tables. 1, 2, 3, full flips, chips in the air, cards scattering like confetti. Players froze, dealers screamed, chairs toppled. It was poker turned war zone. Security swarmed in seconds, tackled him to the ground. He resisted, kicking, yelling, flailing. Someone said he shouted that God told him to do it. Others just stared, stunned. It was over in a minute, but the damage was done. Play stopped cold. Tournament directors tried to restore order, but it took nearly 2 hours to reconstruct stats, review footage, and interview players. No one knew what to call it. Vandalism? A protest? A psychotic break? What they did know was that the tournament had just witnessed something never seen before. And then, somehow, the cards came back out. No redraws, no disqualifications, just silence, tension, and a room full of players trying to pretend that the world hadn't just tipped sideways. Hours later, Florian Pesci walked away with the ring and over $360,000. But that's not what made the headlines. What people remembered was the moment poker stopped being a game, when the quiet hum of the chips was replaced by crashing tables and chaos. Next up is another crazy incident. It wasn't a misclick, or a bad bluff, or even a reckless punt. What happened to Daniel Nielsen at the WSOP Paradise main event in December 2023 was worse, because it wasn't his fault. Three-handed for millions, Nielsen shoved with top pair and a strong kicker. His opponent called, but the dealer miscounted badly. Nielsen should have had 15 million behind. Instead, the count showed 5.2. The live stream graphic got it right. The table didn't. And by the time anyone noticed, the hand had played out. A few hands later, Nielsen was gone. Out in third, 900K in cash, but 116K in equity lost to a silent error. The WSOP reviewed the footage and confirmed the mistake, but the rules left no room for reversal. No fix, no refund. Just a costly reminder that in poker, the most painful beats don't always come from the cards. Sometimes they come from the people shuffling them. And if you think that kind of mistake only happens once, it doesn't. Just a few months later, after Nielsen's chip count disaster, it happened again. This time even worse. February 2025, WSOP Circuit, Baltimore. 3 players left. One of them, Divyam Satyarthi, flops a flush draw. The river completes the hand. 5 clubs on board, and he's holding the queen of clubs. It's the nut flush. But the dealer doesn't see it. Maurice Hawkins shows a wheel straight, and the dealer pushes him the pot. No double check, no pause, no realization. Just a fast muck and a stunned elimination. Satyarthi says nothing at first. He thinks he lost, but the stream shows everything. He had the best hand, and he went out anyway. By the time anyone noticed, the next hand had already started. Too late to reverse, too late to fix. Just silence, confusion, and a third-place payout that should have been a double-up. 64K for a finish that could have been first. Reddit lost its mind. How does this happen at the WSOP, one user wrote. Another called it the clearest misdeal ever caught on stream. But none of it mattered. The pot was pushed, the rules held, and what should have been a comeback turned into a mistake carved into the final table forever. Not because of the cards, but because the person who misread them. Dario Sammartino had been here before, deep in the 2019 WSOP main event. Lights blazing, tensions high, just 11 players left and millions on the line. He opened a hand and got shoved on by Nick Marchington, a rising British star. Dario did what any seasoned pro would do. He asked for a count, a pause, a breath, something to give him clarity in the chaos. The dealer said 17.2 million. Dario weighed in, nodded, and made the call. But what came next cracked the moment wide open. Marchington didn't have 17.2. He had 22.2. 5 million more, a massive difference. Enough to change the entire texture of the decision. The correction came instantly, but the damage was done. His call stood. That's the rule. Once the chips go in, there's no rewind. But Dario didn't just fold into the background. He sat still, face hard, trying to stay calm, trying to stay in it. Commentators shifted nervously. The broadcast replayed the exchange in slow motion. Poker Twitter and forums lit up. Everyone had the same question. How does this happen at this level? Nicholas Osted had been here before. Maybe not under these lights, not with cameras in his face. But the pressure? That was nothing new. One of the most feared online players in history. He'd crushed Sunday majors for years. But there's one thing he didn't have. A main event bracelet. And now, deep in the 2024 WSOP, it finally looked within reach. He was locked in, confident, making the right calls. Until poker does what poker does. It turned cold. His hand started normal. A raise, a 3-bet. Ostet called in position, calm and calculating. The flop came low, connected, dangerous if you blink. His opponent fired again. Ostet stuck around. Then the turn brought a jack. Nothing flashy, just a middle pair. But enough. Then came the shove. Big, fast. Pressure in capital letters. Ostet took his time, ran the math, trusted his instincts, and called. What he saw next hit like a truck. His pair? Dead. His opponent had flopped a straight. No redraw, no miracle river, just stone-cold finality. The rail froze, the chat lit up, the commentators barely spoke. It was one of those moments that didn't need words. Ostet nodded. No tilt, no tantrum. Just quiet acceptance, because he knew this wasn't a mistake. This was the game, a pure cooler on the biggest stage. He walked away with millions. Third place, no bracelet. But the way he handled it, no panic, no excuses, that's what people remembered. Because poker doesn't always crown the best player. Sometimes it just deals a lesson, and Ostedt took his with class. We finished with the biggest buy-in of the summer, the 250K Super High Roller. 63 of the world's best came for it. Legends like Bryn Kenny, sharpshooters like Seth Davies, and characters like Martin Cabral, all fighting for a shot at nearly $5 million up top. But what happened next wasn't just about the money. It was about the pressure that only a $250,000 buy-in can create. At one point, Australian phenom Matthias Ebinger pulled off what might be the boldest bluff of the entire series. Facing down Brandon Stephen, he shoved the river with absolutely nothing. 7 high, no pair, no draw, nothing. It wasn't even a big bet, just 15% of the pot. But it worked. Stephen folded, the table gasped, and the clip went viral within hours. Even the pros in the room couldn't believe it. And that hand alone reminded everyone at this level it's not just about cards, it's about courage. Then came the fireworks between David Peters and Martin Cabral. With millions already in the pot, Peters launched a stone-cold bluff into Cabral, who had flopped trips. It was tense, the kind of moment that makes time stretch. Cabral thought about it, twitched, shifted, then folded. Peters dragged the chips without a word. The table didn't even move. No celebration, just silence. Because at these stakes, every decision is a risk. Every pot could be a title. In the end, it was Seth Davies who climbed through the carnage. He outlasted a murderer's row and took down Alex Foxen heads up to win his first bracelet in nearly $4.8 million. But what people remember most about that final table isn't just the winner, it's the moments in between. The 7 high bluff, the quiet bluffs, the pressure, the poise, the fear. In the 250K, there's no easy spots, and no one walks away unchanged. From folding queens to shoving 7-3 offsuit for $10 million. In poker, your worst moment might just be the one everyone remembers. So what would you do under the lights? Let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and let us know the most epic final table punt you've ever seen.